Welcome to the Yo Brother podcast. I'm your host, Dan Smith. Alongside me, as always, my brother from the same mother, Mike Smith.
How you doing, Dan?
Good. Hold on. Is it recording? Hold on. Let me make sure we're recording.
I think we're recording. Seems like it's been forever because, I guess we were on London time last podcast. So I don't know if that's it, but
It's funny you said that. I felt the same way. I was going to say that to you. It feels like it's been like 2-3 weeks.
yeah, it's weird.
And maybe too soon for some of the listeners, but yeah, that was an awesome interview with Jamie Chambers that we had last week.
Really good. I hope people listen to it. And
yeah, people have been listening to it, and it's been getting some play from what I can tell. So if you haven't heard our latest episode, or you just want to go back and listen to other episodes, all things Oh Brother, you'll find it ohbpodcast.com, ohb as in brother, podcast.com. Go to our YouTube channel, subscribe. As Mike is showing you, throw the thumbs up, smash the like button, and hit the notification bell so you're notified every time we push out new content. I think we need to experiment a little bit and figure out what people are looking for with that YouTube channel, because that's a slow burn right now for us. And it's no lack of trying on my part, that's for sure.
yeah.
So this week we're continuing Halloween Fest. That totally just,
I don't know.
That won't even make the
That'll
make the
get cut.
because it went silent for a minute.
I think I was trying to do a Wolfman.
Is that what it was?
I don't know.
Just go back to the red rum. That was a little better. So in continuing that spirit, again, we tossed around a couple of ideas and ended up landing on this Amazon Prime original film that's in the Blumhouse family called The Lie, which is was just released on Amazon like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And
Peter Sarsgaard and
Joey King.
It's in 4K.
I can't think of I forget because I couldn't pronounce it. The lead actress in it.
Yeah, she seemed familiar, but I don't know what from.
Well, she starred in the TV series, which I'm not familiar with, called The Killing, which Veena Sood, who's the director of The Lie, also was responsible for. So they worked together previously.
Okay.
And that was, I believe, a Netflix series. I might have that wrong.
Not to be confused with the Kubrick film, right? Nothing.
Exactly. I looked into that. No relationship there. But she also did a short-lived series, like an intentional short series called 7 Seconds that was on Netflix that Regina King starred in, and she actually won the Emmy for that.
Oh, wow.
So, but I think this is this woman's first directorial feature. I think. I mean, she's new to film. She's got a TV background primarily. That's her bread and butter. But so, and this is, I guess, I had read it's part of a Blumhouse anthology of films on Amazon. Like there's supposed to be 8 of these films that's under the umbrella of Welcome to Blumhouse. I don't know if it's just to give you a taste of what Blumhouse productions are supposed to be or what, but
And Blumhouse they're typically horror, right? I mean, that's is that their entire genre, or do they go outside of that? Or
I'm not aware of anything outside of that. I think it's pretty much all within the thriller, realm.
And they're the ones that are responsible for Halloween now, which used to be under, I don't know, Lionsgate or Miramax, which became something else, and now it's being shepherded by Blumhouse.
So this is, as I said, supposedly part of this anthology, along with the one that you had originally suggested, Black Box. So
yeah, what was it? Black Box, right?
Black Box, yeah.
Yeah.
And just in comparing the trailers, that one was probably going to be more on the horror side of things than I think this one turned out to be. This one's more, I would say, more thriller than it is. I wouldn't call this a horror film, really.
No. We still haven't gotten into the blood and guts yet.
No, but that you say that, I think one of the thoughts I had watching this was we really haven't delved into the blood, like you said, the what did you call them, the hack and slash or something.
Yeah, whatever
that was. But one of the things that the tension building and some of the suspense that was in this film, I guess where I found the horror in this was in the way that I guess a lie can haunt you for a long time. It made me think of something Dad used to tell me all the time. He used to say, and I wish I was true to this wisdom that he gave me, but he would always say, tell the truth, because if you don't and you tell a lie, then you gotta
remember it.
You got to cover up that lie, then you got to cover up that lie. And that sort of resonated in watching this film, because that's kind of what it is. You pull this thread and then you're in this web of lies. But I don't know, you want to give a synopsis? Hello.
Yeah.
Is this thing on?
Well, I dislike this film so much.
Yeah.
That it's hard. It's almost hard for me to give a synopsis of it, because in the first 5 minutes, I kind of knew. I'll start it out because I don't want to give away any spoilers.
Well, just give a brief synopsis.
Yeah. It's about a couple that are divorced. They have a daughter.
Yeah. And
she's going to ballet class, and Dad's driving her. He goes to pick her up, and on the way to the ballet class, they pick up a friend of hers that's waiting at the bus stop, because she's going there too. So he's driving them both to ballet class, and then the one girl says, well, I have to use the restroom, and they're in the middle of the woods. He's like, well, we'll be 5-10 minutes, and she's like, no, I have to go now, and so he pulls over. They go into the woods, and they're taking a long time, and he gets out to go get them, and you hear a scream, and his daughter he finds his daughter sitting on a bridge, and he's like, where's your friend? What's going on? And she says, I pushed her.
Around.
Yeah, we were just playing, and I pushed her. And so apparently, they were on this bridge that looked kind of dangerous, and she pushed her, I guess, went over the bridge, and he instantly ran down searching for her. And, it was it was a tough current. She was swept up. So anyway, they decide to just leave and go back to the car and lie about it.
Right.
So that's the ultimate to lie.
Right.
So that kicks off the movie, basically. That's within the first 5 minutes. So I don't consider any of that spoiler.
No. And, I mean, it was interesting because it kind of reminded me of watching Invisible Man. I think I'm realizing that Blumhouse, there's all these muted colors and the kind of greens and blues, and
yeah,
it was very familiar to that.
Although, Invisible Man was so much better as far as the story. I mean, right from the get-go, you wouldn't handle it that way. If you're anyone with a conscience, as soon as that happens, you're on the phone with 911. get out here. It was, the two kids are playing around. One of them gets hurt.
Yeah, maybe it's a little far-fetched, but you see
A little.
No, you see this stuff in the news. You see crazy shit in the news.
Yeah,
don't
but
tell me we haven't seen or heard of a story somewhat within that realm. Absolutely, you have. So that's the least problem I have.
But then it gets even more absurd in the next minute because he immediately goes to his wife's office. And we find out the wife is a lawyer. Okay?
Yeah, that's absurd.
And then, no, it's absurd because no lawyer is going to say, what? What just happened? Let's cover it up. Let's lie about it. No lawyer is going to do that. It was so stupid. By that point, I was like, oh my God.
So you're saying there's no crooked lawyers. Is that what you're trying to sell?
No, there's plenty of
That's
crooked
more
lawyers.
Preposterous than the storyline of this film.
No, there's plenty of crooked lawyers, but nobody is going to put their...
Okay, but for Christ's sake, suspend disbelief for 2 seconds.
I tried. I like Peter Sarsgaard. I was so like, I figured you were going to get the hint.
Thank God this is going to be a short episode.
I figured you were going to get the hint when I wrote to you, what was your other idea for this week? Because I was watching it at that point. I was about 15 minutes in and I wanted to walk out. And I was in my bedroom.
This isn't about picking movies you think you're only going to like.
Well, no, but...
Jesus.
And no, I'm not a grump. I'm telling the truth. I am telling the truth. This is the worst movie we've had on this show.
No, it's not.
It's the worst movie on the show.
Absolutely not. That's just not true.
I mean, I hope people will watch the first 5 minutes, be like,
yeah, I wouldn't.
Mike was right.
I wouldn't own this movie. I wouldn't pay to see this movie. In retrospect,
I wanted to walk out. I'm in my bedroom.
Yeah, look, there were things I liked about it and things I didn't like about it.
What could you possibly like about it?
Well, I liked some of the. I mean, it was for directing. This woman, I thought, did a really good job directing the film. There's some really nice shots in this, a lot of those overhead shots and those big wide landscape shots. And so if you just talk about some of that from, the kind of production piece, it was a pretty decent looking film.
Yeah, but the story is just so absurd, and it ends.
It's no more absurd than every other movie.
No, the end, we were talking about, when we talked to Jamie last week, he was in Slasher House too. Right. And after we watched it, we kind of laughed and we were joking about it. And you made the comment that I thought was absolutely right, which the director was MJ Watts?
Dixon,
MJ Dixon, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got like a horror lineup of, he does like 4 movies a year, mm-hmm. and they're low budget, and there's things you laugh at. You're like, it's so, crazy you laugh. But he knew what he was doing.
Yeah.
The movie knew it was
didn't take itself too seriously.
It didn't take itself serious. But this movie, was supposed to be like a serious drama, and the absurdity of it.
I thought there was some decent acting between Sarsgaard and again, I can't pronounce her name well enough. His counterpart in the film, his wife or ex-wife. They had some good scenes, and they were building tension. But all right, I'll give you that. I'm not defending the film as a film I loved, but I'm not. This is not the worst film we've ever saw or talked about.
Tell me one that was worse that we've done. Over 20 weeks. Tell me one that's worse. I can't for the life of me think of one.
Well, we own some for sure. I know I do.
I would rather sit in a chair with my eyes strapped open watching Halloween 3 for, a week straight with eye drops,
That has the benefit of being part of the Halloween franchise, though. That's a little different.
Yeah, but
You know?
I mean, like that's a movie I hate.
Yeah.
But this is right with it. I mean, I couldn't give any credence to any of the directing or any of the
See,
acting
I
because
think
the movie was so absurd. The plot was so absurd.
there's your problem. You're going into these films looking for like realism. That's not what it's about.
No, I'm
Just
not.
suspend disbelief and just enjoy it for what it is.
I watched Slasher House
Jesus
2, and
Christ.
I didn't have a problem with it. I was like, you know what? Yeah, and there was some really absurd things, and I thought it was funny, and I could sit back and, like Jamie called it, a popcorn movie, which I love that reference because that's what it is. You know, you just sit there, you munch your popcorn, you're like, this is but this like was trying to be a real serious drama, and with the absurd things that were going on, and the ending, which I'm not going to give away, but when they finally get to the ending of this horrible film, it's worse than the beginning. And I didn't think that was possible. I just didn't think it was possible.
Well, it's been another episode of Feel Better Podcast. I mean, there's nothing else to say. If you're just shitting on it from start to finish.
Well, I mean,
there's nothing redeeming in this film at all. Like Sarsgaard's performance,
I didn't think
terrible.
I didn't think so. Well, here I bring up to you,
break, dude.
I bring up to you It, and you've never even heard of it.
Bullshit. I never said I never heard of it. Of course I know It. You brought up It out of nowhere. I was talking about this. You start talking about the clown and It. I'm like, yeah, I know It. What? I don't know why you.
Well, I was like, you
I
know.
don't know why you even went on the It tangent. Like, why did?
Because I had watched It too.
I said in my text, I said The Lie, and then the next thing you know, you're like the clown with the. I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm talking about The Lie. Yeah, Sarsgaard. I'm like, what are you talking about? It made no sense. That whole text exchange was absurd. That was absurd.
I just,
you know, maybe is that why, in all seriousness, because I couldn't find the answer to this, but this was screened at the Toronto International Film Festival in 2018, but it just got acquired by Amazon in August, and it just, you know, was premiered 2 weeks ago.
But I can't.
Is that why it's out on the shelf for 2 years?
I think so. I think so. I think people watched it and were like,
I liked the look of the film. I mean, that's one thing I liked about the film. I thought it looked, you know, I mean, again, just if you want to get away from the story and that kind of thing. But there's another character, her friend, who, you know, ends up being kind of the central focus of it because she's the one that you know
gets in the fight.
Yeah, the friend is kind of the central focus of it because she's, you know, where is she and all of this thing. So her father comes into the picture, and there's some interplay between he and her parents. You know, where's my daughter? Have you seen her? Can you tell your daughter to call me, you know, when she gets a chance, and all this stuff.
Which that too I thought was absurd.
It was that whole angle, I thought, and how that played out. That was one of the sillier moments. But of course, that led up to the final sort of twist, which I kind of liked the twist. I know it was ridiculous, but I kind of liked it. I did. I didn't see it coming, so I kind of thought that was interesting.
Well, I'll be honest, I didn't see it coming either.
Right, but
when it came,
you were like, "Oh, come on!"
Exactly. By that time, I was so.
Let me ask you a question. There's a scene in the film, where Joey King is in her mom's. You know, she's very well to do, as you said. She's a lawyer.
Is that the girl or?
That's the girl.
Okay, did I recognize her from something else? Yeah,
she's she's been in a lot of things, but she was in and we'll have to edit this for time, but Joey King most recently, because she's won like an Emmy, a Golden Globe.
Yeah, she seemed familiar.
But it's weird. I thought she was in things I knew
Yeah.
more than I do, and I think I'm confused. Oh, she was in The Kissing Booth, which is a very popular. I think we're probably too old for that, but she was in The Kissing Booth, which was really big. Um, Summer '03, I think, was another film she was in. And she was also in The Dark Knight Rises. So when I read that, I realized she was what's the woman in Dark Knight Rises? She's Bane protected her as a kid. She plays her as a kid.
Oh, maybe that's where I know.
Remember,
her
she had the
from.
shaved. I'm pretty sure that's who she was in.
Okay.
I mean, what other character could it be?
Yeah, she had a familiar look, and I was like, I just couldn't place her.
There's a scene, fairly innocuous, but she's in the mom's apartment, and she looks out the back sliding glass doors, and she's kind of looking up to the sky, and there's this pink helium balloon that's just
yeah.
It seemed like that was supposed to have more significance, and I just couldn't, just never cashed in on that, or I couldn't figure out what the meaning was. But
I didn't either.
It seemed too significant to be random.
Exactly. Why did they put that there? And
it never paid off.
It never paid off,
unless I just didn't.
It was kind of like she's an asthmatic, and she's in the first 8 minutes or 5 minutes, they're talking about her inhaler 20 times. So you knew something was up. They were foreshadowing something with the inhaler, right?
Yeah.
This balloon thing, I honestly didn't get. I mean,
I know the
I'm glad you brought it up, because
yeah,
when I was watching that, I was kind of like, is that representing her friend going to heaven? It's not that deep a movie.
The working title was Between the Earth and Sky. So I don't know if that was some, I don't even know why that was I don't know.
Where did that come from?
But, this was really about this girl, wanting her parents to get back together. This is a girl who, at least I took away from the very beginning, she's under a lot of pressure. She's a ballet dancer. Her mom's an attorney. Her dad's like in a band, he's like an artist type. And she cuts, she's a cutter. That's revealed at one point in the movie.
Yeah, she doesn't have a lot of self-esteem.
Right. You can tell she's under a lot of pressure. And so I kind of thought, well, this is somewhat a revenge, her revenge against the pressures of her life, having to live this. Again, I'm giving it more gravitas, as Jamie said, gravitas than it deserves. But
because when the cops get involved, and at some point
they could have done a lot more with, the theme of like physical abuse versus mental abuse. And like that could have been a lot deeper and didn't really go anywhere, and I don't know.
Because they focused on this kind of ridiculous plot, and it just kept getting more ridiculous. The other thing, it opens up with, it's her and her mother, and I guess her mother's boyfriend. What happened to him? Like, they were all in lovey-dovey land.
He never called. He
never called. He disappears from the movie.
Convenient, so they could get back together.
Yeah, it's like, why even introduce that character? You know what I mean?
Now, the Sarsgaard reference, we can tie the knot or connect the dots to it, which is part of what maybe you were doing because of his brother.
Right. And I think that was it, because
maybe this would have been better if Pennywise was in it. I don't.
It definitely would have been, because we would have seen
there was a balloon. Maybe that's what it was.
That's Pennywise.
Pennywise got cut out.
The thing about, I was watching it too, and I always confuse, when I see Sarsgaard, I confuse the brothers.
Well,
I don't know why.
I always think of Stellan Skarsgård. He's another one in that. I'm like, is he really? Oh, that's Skarsgård, not
Yeah.
Sarsgaard.
But they're brothers, right?
I think
I'm
so. Bill
pretty
and
certain. Yeah.
Peter.
Yeah. And the younger one is
For the purposes
Pennywise
of this
now.
episode, they're brothers.
Yes, they've now become
Everybody's
brothers.
on Oh Brother.
Oh God. But I'm watching It Too, you know, and I thought it was okay. And It Too was
See, that's
Stephen,
a film I just is so goofy.
well, I don't know.
So
I
goofy.
think because it's been a TV
It just looks
miniseries.
ridiculous as that clown. It's
Been a movie before. But clowns are synonymous with kids being frightened of them.
Yeah.
So I think but not to go down that rabbit hole, but I was just making the point that Stephen King was in It Too. And there's a character in It Too. It was about a group of kids. And then, so It Too follows them 27 years later, which is Pennywise supposedly comes back every 27 years if you don't kill him or I don't know, some obscure plot like that. But one of the kids grew up to be a writer and he wrote kind of horror. So I think it's basically Stephen King.
Mm-hmm.
This kid grew up to be Stephen King, and everybody keeps saying, oh yeah, I liked it, but I hated the ending, which is typical. Stephen King, a lot of people say that about a lot of his books. Yeah. And, think about some of his that have been made into movies.
Right.
It's good. It's good. It's good. It sucks.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of how his movies and books go. So,
yeah, this had potential. It was like the production was bigger than the story that it was presenting.
The money, they spent a lot of money on this.
No, I don't think so. It was only like $3 million.
Oh, okay.
I think it's a low budget.
So and I can't imagine it took that long to shoot.
No, it's 21 days.
Yeah, so
21 days.
But this is one of those things. Hey, we put it on Amazon Prime, brand new, exclusive. It's a brand new 2020 movie. I was excited, like, hey, this is new. It's in 4K.
It's an okay Sunday sleeper. If you got Prime, check it out. I mean, but I wouldn't even say I wouldn't be paying for this.
I want to call Amazon and
it's
get my 90 minutes of life back.
It's not that horrible. I'll give you. They didn't pay off in a lot of spots, and it was absurd in a few particular ways, but without giving too much away. But Rotten Tomatoes has it pegged pretty spot on. It's
what is it?
Almost equal with the audience and the critics. Critics 44, the audience 42. I know it seems high.
That seems high,
but they're both rotten. Let's put it that way. So not a fresh film. And this week, I guess, just to say, because I wasn't able to find it, I did go looking for it, but this was adapted from a 2015 German film called We Monsters.
I read that,
and I looked up. I saw the trailer, and I was kind of intrigued by the trailer. I'm like, and maybe it was a better film in the German version, but.
Well, if you think about the concept, okay, little girl and her father tell a lie and it leads to consequences. And then what are the consequences of that lie? It sounds like a coherent idea for a movie.
Right.
But the way they just...
The way they paid it off it's definitely disappointing. It fell flat.
Right from the beginning, when the girl, pushed the other one over. I mean, weren't you like, Sarsgaard, what are you doing? What are you telling your daughter to duck so a truck coming by doesn't see her? What are you doing? Call 911. And didn't he say, let's call 911? Or?
Yeah, but that's the thing. Initially, that's his response, is what you're expecting it to be. He runs down, he's trying to find the girl and all of this. But then when he realizes, I don't know, that moment where he makes that other decision and he pivots and he says, I'm going to cover this up and protect my daughter. Because if he doesn't do that, the fact of the matter is there's no movie. It's as simple as that. It ends after 5 minutes.
Well, true.
And again, there are stories out there where people do crazy shit like that. There are. So I can suspend enough disbelief to go with that premise. Where it ends up going ultimately, it got a little bit silly.
Yeah, because it just kept, like then when they go to the mother and then she goes along with it, I was like, somebody have some common sense.
Yeah, maybe it was the acting, because I thought she was a really good actress and Sarsgaard was really good. So maybe I just bought into that. But you're right, that's a little bit more, a little sillier, I guess. The fact that she's an attorney and just willy-nilly given over to like this, cover up of a murder.
Right. And then to go even deeper to try to like pawn it off on the girl's father. Let's make him an abuser.
Right.
So let me get the police involved. It just kept getting more absurd. And I swear it was like a joke, like somebody was behind the scenes going, what can we do that makes this even more ridiculous? Yeah, let's do that. That's what I kept thinking. I'm like, they're screwing with me, right? And I almost thought you were. I was like, is there a candid camera? Is somebody going to come into my room and say, Mike,
sorry to disappoint you.
You're on candid camera because this has been really a joke.
Well, we'll have to dip into some of these other Welcome to Blumhouse movies like Black Box and see if that's any.
Yeah, I noticed that had a higher rating, but you can't trust the ratings anyway. And just like, hey, this is my opinion, okay? And I think that I hope people go check it out for themselves. Mm-hmm. And I hope after 5 minutes they turn it off because they know it's ridiculous. But I knew we can't do that because we're doing it for this show. Mm-hmm. And there is like, I remember when Roger Ebert used to say, some of my, him and Gene Siskel, day after day in movie theaters watching these movies. I mean, and for every great movie, there's a movie that's horrible, but they've got to stick it out because they've got to do a half-hour show every week and cover the movies.
And that's what we're doing this week, folks. Anything else to say about this gem before we
I guess not. Coda? Yeah.
I guess it's good that we can say that we're going to bring it home next week with a episode solely dedicated to the Halloween franchise.
And let's we're going to focus, I think, on just 3 of the movies. All of a sudden I got light. Did you notice that?
That happens. I see
my lighting just got better.
Yeah.
I don't know.
They're off strike now. They're back working.
Yeah, now that we're just about wrapping up, it's like, okay, the lighting crew got it right. So I don't think we're going to cover every Halloween movie. Thanks, guys, for taking the light away. Somebody scroll with me.
Well, I mean, we'll be commenting on all of them in some way, but I think the focus is going to be 3 primarily.
Yeah, so I hope Halloween fans.
It's just Season of the Witch, folks, next week.
Halloween 3 all the time.
Why you should love. I can't even do that, but maybe one day
we should.
Why you should love Season of the Witch.
Didn't you try to one time convince me that it wasn't horrible?
No.
I thought you did.
No, don't put that on me. and I'm the Halloween guy.
And I'm bummed because we should be talking about Halloween Kills right now.
I know.
Right? We should have just seen it.
Something to look forward to.
A year away. And
that's way off.
And I'm glad they're waiting till Halloween because it should come out around Halloween,
I want to see those in the theater.
Yeah, and hopefully, You know, I just hope that by that time,
Yeah, we're able to.
I mean, we're heading into a dark time. So
it was the best of times. It was the worst of times.
yeah, it was the blurst of times. The blurst of times.
No one's gonna get that reference.
No.
All right.
Too much Simpsons.
That'll do it for another episode of Oh Brother. I've been your host, Dan Smith. Alongside me, as always, my brother from the same mother, Mike Smith, and we will see you next time.
Sorry, everyone. Sorry.